coils for the VR4. I'm going to open them up and kind of see what they look like for you guys. These were like special order ones. They're the DRs. They come in from like Thailand or something. They got like stuck in Alaska for some weird reason for a long time, but they're supposed to be here like a week before we actually went to California, and they showed up like 2 weeks after. Well, 2 weeks after they're supposed to, but they showed up like the day after we like left to go to California. So I'm gonna get a knife or something and open them. Get them. They come with a piece of paper that says DS. I guess it's still digressive piston type. And there we go. So yeah, I can't wait to see how the VR4 looks with these on there. And then I don't want to make it too low, but I definitely want to get rid of that crazy fender gap that you guys seen before. And another thing is that I could adjust it so it's kind of the correct height. And they'll be digressive, so they'll be a really nice coilover for like street driving, and like kind of if you want to take it to the track, they're supposed to be really nice. So all right, so the day has come. The VR4 is back in the shop. I'm going to be doing the coilovers today, and I'll throw the wheels on it just to see how they actually look. I finally got those coils as I showed you guys earlier. Oh, one other thing I want to show is the wheel gap and everything and how high it sits. Before I put the coils on, you could definitely see that there is a substantial fender gap, and I'm going to close that up. Hopefully everything lines up and I don't have any issues. Alright, so I just wanted to make sure the bolts that I got from China, they're titanium bolts, and wanted to make sure they weren't protruding too far, just because I didn't want them to hit the rotors. So looks like they're good. So all I need to do is put the other two on the bottom. That's the only reason I took the rotor and the caliper off. Then put everything back together. I'll torque them, put everything back together, put the coilover on, put the wheel on, torque the nut finally, and then that'll be that for the front. I won't have to worry about anything other than putting all this fender liner stuff on and getting alignment. I have the new bolts, the titanium bolts and washers in, torqued up to 75 foot-pounds. Now all I have to do is put the coilover on this side, put the axle nut and everything back together, caliper. The other side I won't have to pull the caliper and the rotor yet. I need to do pads and probably new rotors maybe later on. But one thing I was disappointed about was that the Timken hubs, they're supposed to be stainless steel, I thought, but they're all rusty. Well, they're beginning to get all rusty, so that's kind of disappointing. And then this was the whole issue with where they at, wherever they went. But are these them? Yeah. So Timken sent me what was it? So they sent me. Dang, those aren't them. Where are they at? Wherever they went, they sent me like 2 bolts for each side instead of 4, and then they like were all mad because I said that these hubs are supposed to come with bolts, and they're like, oh, that's ridiculous, blah blah blah. But the factory ones have like nuts and studs, so I don't know. I just bought Chinese bolts. They're titanium. Oh no, here they are. So these are the ones that came with the Timken hubs. Unfortunately, they only sent me 4 instead of 8, and then I ordered titanium ones, which are definitely, I'm surprised at the quality. These are from China, and they're actually really nice quality. So I know some people might be saying, oh, well, Chinese bolts, but whatever company it is that makes these bolts, I'm probably going to reach out to them to see if they have other styles of bolts in titanium. and I'll put the link in the description for these bolts, and then the hub and the coilovers, and whatever else I use in this whole process. So do that. So these bolts are definitely a ton lighter than these. I could maybe weigh like a bolt and washer, like the one that came with the Timken hub, and then the titanium one. I mean, it's not like holding them, it's night and day, but unless you did like the whole car with titanium bolts, it wouldn't really make a difference. I just did it because the only ones I could find in that size, the thread pitch, the length, and the size and everything were in titanium, so that's why I went with them. Lowered it a little bit, definitely in the front. I mean, those wheels though, oh yeah. I'll probably bring her down an inch. I'm gonna do the back first though, and then adjust the coilovers so they're all even. But I like how it looks so far with those wheels, and I can't believe I may end up needing a spacer. These are pretty close to the actual calipers, but I might not. I'm gonna just kind of see what happens. I think it is probably gonna clear. Looks like it has a good 2 mil, maybe 1 mil of clearance. So what I might end up doing is a Chinese company at SEMA makes carbon fiber rotors to any specification you want, and pads. So I'll probably make a rotor at that gives it like an extra mil of space, and then have carbon fiber brakes with the factory calipers. So that'd be pretty nice, but definitely need to drop her down just a little bit. I don't want to go all hot boy stance or anything, but I definitely want it to be, I don't know, I want it to be maybe half an inch from the fender to the tire, just so it has some rebound and it's not going to actually rub the fender. Maybe an inch. We'll see what happens. Play it by ear. I think it's like 2 inches right now, but it definitely looks a lot better with those wheels. It'll look a lot better a little bit lower. But I'm going to do the rears really quick. So I was really hoping I could get this car done today, the coilovers and everything, but again, it wanted to be a pain, so it is definitely probably going to be have to be finished tomorrow. I don't know what Trevor did with the little torch, because the bushing on this side that holds the strut on. Where is this one? Yeah, so this bushing right here, it holds the strut on, but on this passenger side it is seized. So I put some penetrating oil on it. I was going to torch it to get it off, but I can't figure out what we did with the torch or where Trevor put the torch, so I'll just have to, and he already left for the night and probably is asleep, so I will finish it up tomorrow. It looks pretty good. I mean, I just need to see where the rear is at. I'm going to lower the rear probably to a good like half an inch from the fender, and then I'll adjust the front to be level, and then once that's done, I put the titanium bolts already in the hubs, so the hubs are all buttoned up. What's left? Oh, the rear steering delete's left. So once I get all this stuff done and I have access to the lift again, I need to pull the subframe out to do the rear steering. So that'll be a whole separate video, because I'm pretty much gonna have to drop the subframe. You have to do some stuff to the top of the diff, be able to pull a rack out. If I have time, I'll powder coat the subframe. And they don't make poly bushings, but if I get to it, I'll either put solid or poly in it. So I might do solid because the diff has its own bushings. So since that's the case, I could go solid on the subframe and then poly on the diff bushing. So we'll see what happens with that. But right now I'm gonna go home and then I'll continue this video tomorrow. All right, back at the shop today. One thing I wanted to note, I didn't really record it. I had to use heat to get that rear strut off because it was seized. A little bit of heat and penetrating fluid, oil, whatever you want to call it, worked very well. And I just used the air chisel. I pretty much messed the stock shock up, but it's not a big deal. They're kind of rusty anyway. I wasn't going to reuse them. So now another thing, let me get my phone out. Another thing I want people to note on this is you can kind of tell that I'm not going crazy low with it. That's probably as low as I'm going to go. And the reason is this is all-wheel drive, especially with rear-wheel drive cars. Right there, you can see my axle angle there's no angle, it's flat. So you don't want like crazy like angles where your axles are like super like, I don't know, let's say my phone is the axle. You don't want, you want it to be relatively flat because when your suspension travels, the axle moves up and down, but you don't want to like drop your car so much that your axle's already at like an angle of 15 degrees. I mean, like a little angle, like maybe a degree to like 5 degrees is okay either way, up and down, but definitely you don't want it like when people go super low without doing like rear subframe bushings to pull the subframe up. But you know, this is as low as I'm going to go with the car probably ever. I mean, in the back you could see that I do need to, it's a little cambered in, so I'll put some camber arms on it, and then I still need to put the rear steering delete in. I'm just kind of adjusting the suspension so everything is level, so the whole so the actual frame is level with the ground. That's how you're supposed to do it. You don't want to do it, so I don't want to make my fender gap in the rear the same as the front. The reason that is the front wheel arch is always larger than the rear. Actually, it's larger and lower down, just because of the fact the car has to turn. So you don't want to do that because it messes your car's handling up to an extent. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get this thing to actually handle pretty well and to look decent. So I mean, the body isn't the greatest, but with what I have into it and everything, it's coming along quite nicely. Okay, the coils are all on and I adjust them. I think that it's pretty level now, and you can see how there's a gap, a larger gap in the front, not too much, and then the rear is less of a gap. So you can see the back's kind of cambered in. I'm going to definitely try to find some camber arms to push that out so it's zeroed. And I think the front is actually zeroed already, so it might have a little bit of positive, but I'll have to have it aligned. I'll do that after the rear steering delete, since I have to pull that stuff back out anyway, the rear subframe and all that stuff. But right now I'm going to throw in the K&N air filter. So going to throw that in. And you can see why I wanted to replace the air filter, how nasty and grimy it was. It was even kind of grimy on the backside. So let's throw the K&N in and it'll probably be a lot better. Okay, so the new air filter is in. I'll just put the air box back on and then tighten everything. So that ends the video for the VR4 coil install. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the VR4 project. The SC300 project is going to be kind of coming about. I need to finish the Audi first, but it'll probably be a few weeks before I could do the rear steering delete, since it's the holidays and the powder coating guy is gone till the first of the year. So once he comes back, I'll plan on doing the rear camber arms, rear steering delete, and powder coating, all that stuff, maybe doing some bushings and stuff just to freshen everything up. But once the rear steering delete is finished and the subframe's finished and all that stuff's done, I'll probably register it and start dailying it, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. See you guys next time.